Now I'd like to introduce my boss, President and CEO of the National Center for Manufacturing Sciences, Rick Jarman. I like to say that he is such an expert in collaboration and manufacturing excellence that President Reagan has worked with him, and even potential future President Hillary Clinton. There's not many people who can claim that. Please welcome Rick Jarman.
Thank you, Phil. And again, let me also welcome all of you to the 4th annual Michigan Robotics Day. And it really is, I've told this story now at least 3 times. It was amazing to me when we started this. I was sitting in my office one night and I recognized that it was National Robotics Week. And I said to Phil Callahan, I said, Phil, we got to do something to celebrate this. And I don't know, it doesn't have to be a big event. It could be just, we could get one of the conference room downstairs and we'll open up a bottle of wine and we'll watch some Star Wars movies and, you know, and it'd be a nice little thing just to recognize it. Well, a couple of weeks later, I look out my window and there's Phil hauling a prototype of R2-D2 out of the trunk of his car. And a couple weeks later, the halls of NCMS were absolutely filled with folks like you and robots running around the building. There were 150 people showed up. We were busting at the seams. So we're so fortunate to have a partner like the University of Michigan who quickly came to our rescue and partnered with us, collaborated with us on this event, and have provided this wonderful venue for Michigan Robotics Day. And we're very excited about that. Last year, we had the governor of Michigan, Rick Snyder, here. Some of you that may have been here recognize that Governor Snyder gave a challenge last year. He said, look, in terms of number of teams and number of people involved in the first robotics competitions, Michigan is second to California in terms of numbers of students and numbers of teams. And he challenged this group at Michigan Robotics Day to go out and be number 1. And I happened to be with the governor on Tuesday, and he said, tell those folks, thank you for being number 1. And I think, you know, for all the first teams, you deserve a round of applause. So here we go again, and the you know, this past week or a couple weeks ago, The Economist magazine put out an article that said robots are on the rise, and I think, duh, you know, what don't they understand? But I guess there are an awful lot of people in the world that don't recognize that robotics like we do here in Michigan. We understand that robotic tools are now essential in the operating room, on the battlefield, on the factory floor, in the office. At home, you got Roombas, which, you know, and there's this whole thing you might have seen in the news this week about men and women and pay grades and whatnot. And I guarantee you, you know, that men are going to really be behind this automation of the living room, because when you get these stay-at-home dads, they really like a Roomba. You know, so you can look forward to a lot more of that. But the economists also pointed out a couple of other pieces of information that I think are vital. There's an emergent industry around lawyers and psychologists coming up around robotics. So the lawyers want to make sure that you're designing things that don't hurt other people, and the psychologists, I guess, are trying to get a leap on the robotics themselves, saying, did you really outthink the person who designed it? So I don't know how that's going to work out, but it's certainly something that we're going to have to pay attention to. The other major thing that the governor talked about last year, and that was the highlight of part of the discussion, was the autonomous vehicle licensing. And I'm happy to report that earlier this year, with the help of Phil Callahan and others, Michigan got that licensing in place, and and they're, the first vehicles, there was a company in Saline that got the first license plate just a short time ago. So that's a very good thing. But I want to get to just spend a couple of minutes talking about some of the points that Phil actually started to talk about, and that's something that, there have been major studies over the last 10 years that talked about where does innovation come from? And those studies almost 100% say innovation comes from the intersection of talent, investment, and infrastructure. And when it comes to robotics, that intersection is right here in Michigan. We have the talent in many forms. First of all, we've got folks like in the STEM community and the first robotics program, just with all of you that are here today. That's a huge part of an emerging talent base. We also have a lot of good first-rate companies, companies like Quantum Signal and Ford and Cybernet and SkySpec that you're going to hear more about today. And one of my favorites earlier this week, we talked to some folks at iTrack who are automating lawn cutting. I thought, well, that's a really good thing. That may be even above the Roomba. Now, having just lived through a Michigan winter, I think we ought to do automated snow plowing too. But we'll one step at a time, I guess. But talent, investment, and infrastructure are such key pieces of this. So we've got the talent, we've got we've got these first-rate companies, we've got hospitals, we've got universities like the University of Michigan helping with the research and development. We're developing talent, and so. But the other part of that model is the infrastructure, and of course with the governor's support and folks like Senator Kowal, who was here last year, we got that bill passed. So we have an infrastructure, and right. Very close to here, the University of Michigan is putting together a closed-loop track for autonomous vehicles, so where people will be able to do testing and whatnot. Very, very important pieces of infrastructure that'll play very nicely with the talent. And of course, 70% of the private research and development funds that are spent come from manufacturing. And we've got a heads up. We've got a heads up on manufacturing, and that leads me to a point. There are a lot of companies out there that are getting a pretty high gloss treatment about they're going to be the future of autonomous vehicles. And I'd say, well, without the talent, investment, and infrastructure available to them, and that manufacturing mentality that Phil started to talk about, it's when you get to manufacturing that you get the benefits of getting the cost out, getting the quality in, and being able to make things over and over and over again perfectly. The military experienced this a few years ago when they got caught in the middle of a couple of wars, and a lot of the robotic systems were coming from one-off things that were just being made, but they weren't being manufactured. So if a soldier in the field said, boy, I really like that robot, give me another one just like it, nobody could do it. So, manufacturing, folks like General Dynamics and others got involved in it, and now we have a manufacturing base. There's still a lot more work to be done. Without two wars to experiment with, we got to find other ways to utilize a lot of those robots that are sitting up at Selfridge Air Force Base right now. I mean, there's no reason why those robots can't be taking out the garbage on a fort that now takes a top security clearance garbage man to do. So we have a lot of work that can be done. And of course, with NCMS here in Ann Arbor, we live collaborative research and development. Yes, for robotics, for advanced robotics, but as part of that, not just autonomous vehicles, We do factory automation. We do all kinds of, we take a really holistic look at manufacturing, and our goal is to make sure that the United States of America is a leader in smart manufacturing. Because what is smart manufacturing? What's that going to mean to us? That's going to mean that, there's going to be a $15 trillion increase in global GDP around smart manufacturing, and we want a piece of that action. In the United States, it's going to be smart manufacturing is going to mean a $25,000 increase in the next 15 years in the average annual salary. We all want a piece of that, right? Significant cost reductions in energy, and obviously, I mean, people talk about robotics and autonomous vehicles. There's a lot of benefit in energy to get out of that. The president of Cisco, the CEO of Cisco, says that 99% of all the things in the world that are made that could be connected aren't. 99%. There's a huge opportunity. And yes, a lot of the things will be the kind of things that we're talking about today. But, the other things that will be connected, our refrigerators will be connected, our appliances in our house will be connected. There's a lot of things that we can do to make smart manufacturing work. So my message to you is, how do we get there? Well, we get there because it starts with days like today, and it starts with folks like you. I'm extremely excited. Over 500 people registered for this event during the course of the day. Have a great day, and I look forward to meeting with a lot of you. Thank you.